Sex and sex education has always been a touchy subject, but an important one. So why aren't all areas of sex covered in schools?
Never taught about how relationships between women and women or men and men are meant to go. It's always about men and women. That needs to change dramatically because, like you said, there's going to be dangerous situations out there. Like on Grindr, there needs to be taught what's okay and what's not okay and where to go.
It certainly does seem that there are a lot of blank spaces in sex education, particularly upon education about LGBTQ sex and relationships.
The fact that they don't touch up on much detail, mostly because the people who are teaching it are not aware, they're not taught, they don't know how to genuinely go into detail onto heterosexual relationship. Like, it's easy, they know it themselves, they've been taught that. But when it comes to something they don't know, this is not for every single one, but most will say, I don't know much about it. I'll touch up on the subject of homosexuality, but I don't know about it, so I can't say it's easy to educate someone if I don't know myself.
And that's what we're not taught about what, trying to say LGBT wise. So they talk about sex education in the heterosexual side of the way, but not homosexual. So we're not taught about it's okay to be gay type thing.
Because most schools are Christian schools and it's not Christian to be gay.
As well, it's about the experience that the person or the lecturer is giving out. Because if someone's obviously had those experiences as an adult, they're going to be the ones, like, well, not preaching it, but influencing and helping the other people learn about it. So if someone is maybe heterosexual, they're not going to know all the stuff about homosexual sex, so they're not going to be able to give that information forward. So they may find it awkward to talk about it if they don't know the topic well themselves.
Well, when I was young, they didn't really talk about gay sex, so I was really confused with myself on certain times. So I feel like it would be good if someone spoke more out about it and it just became more normalised.
Statistics show that a number of STI cases since 1999 have gone up by 50% for boys and 70% for girls. This may be due to sex education being more prevalent and people being able to recognise STIs and STDs sooner. But what is the opinion of young LGBTQ teens who this is directed at?
It's important for young teens to learn about sex ed because otherwise they'll end up going into intimate activities blind and they won't know exactly what to do or how to be safe. So I think it's important that they learn how to exactly be safe and they don't always ask for help from adults.
I went to a Church of England school and they were quite religious and they used to make us sing hymns every day, put us in that mindset, and I think they're not going to preach something that's directly against what they're making you sing in the assembly, right? Schools are moving on, I think, times are getting more modern, but you still, religion is still quite a big thing at primary schools, I find. In most schools are Church of England or affiliated to some religion, I find, so religion is a big problem sometimes.
Go online, or if you have a friend who is also LGBTQ+, just ask them, or just go speak to either your parents, or if you can't talk to them, try and look online. There's loads of platforms like Support You.
It's still an education like school or college or even university, then you can actually ask the communication for like the social groups within your education to like get to the outside to see if there are any outside or even inside groups to actually go to.
The first thing I'd say is Support You if you're in Thames Valley, but that can only be found via the fact that you are searching in social media. You are searching into Google, web search and surfing for LGBT support, and then you find LGBT support as a vast, and you can find youth through that. I think most people type in LGBT youth support it's very limited. So going in directly through the borough council or directly through an adult service that is there, not porn or gay, whatever, but I'm saying find some kind of support service like Support You. We do all ages. We're not just aimed at youth, but a youth project is the main thing for us. And the second one is Stonewall. It's a training for staff and members of the LGBT community within an education setting. So Stonewall are very, very popular and famous pretty much. You probably know the posters, some people are gay, get over it, and that kind of thing. The big red poster, yeah, that's Stonewall. So if you type in Stonewall onto the web searcher again and you will type in your local area, they'll come up with something and they'll try and direct you to the nearest one they're aware of.
I'm here in Reading, where there are many support centres such as Support You, specifically geared towards teens who are a part of the LGBTQ star community.
So consent is hugely important. I think a lot of young people, whether you're LGBTQ or young people and actually adults, I think consent is a big topic right now. You can't fully consent if you're drunk or under the influence, and and I think that's coming into the limelight a lot. I think it's really important that we educate our generation, so hopefully they'll, educate the next generation about the fact that even if you're in a relationship, consent is still important. Throughout having sex or any kind of intimate act, you should be checking out, is this okay?
I think mostly it's, there's still a stigma with regards to alternative relationships and alternative sexualities or gender variation. Primarily that's parental or it's societal. So if you're looking at faith schools, for instance, it might be that they're trying to keep the teachings of their faith, which may be against LGBT relationships. If it's state schools or other schools, then parents still have that option to take their kids out of it. There is a drive towards more of that for the future, but not enough of it at the moment. It's not the children themselves that don't want it. When I've been in schools and been talking to kids themselves, they're really interested to learn about those kind of things, but it's normally parental or societal pressures that are stopping it from happening.
Being unsure about your feelings doesn't make you a sexuality at all. So to people asking, am I gay because I've had thoughts about wanting to experiment with other people of the same sex, I think it needs to be that people understand it's okay to experiment, it's okay to be unsure, and that don't label yourselves.
But what is the public opinion? Here in Reading's main shopping street, the public opinion seems to be very much in favour of LGBTQ star inclusive sections in sex education.
I think everyone should get the same amount of information necessary to have a safe sex life, as it's something that can change your life forever. A bad decision or a uninformed, misinformed decision can change your life forever.
That's correct. They shouldn't be discriminated. They should be free for all, People what they are, what they are. I have a niece that's bisexual and good on her. And I have a friend's daughter who's gay. Good for them. That's what I say.
So what have we gathered? Well, the rise of sexual education can only be good. Why sex ed talks don't go into as much depth into LGBTQ star sex as they should in the general importance of the inclusion of an LGBTQ star section in sex education. As you can see, there are drastic changes that need to be met about the current state of school systems to accommodate everyone's sexual orientation and identity to ensure that all young people are educated and safe.